I know that a lot of you are familiar with the legal field in some capacity, and you're probably familiar with the fact that the legal industry hasn't really adopted technology as much as the rest of the world. In fact, it's been called the last remaining outpost of technology integration in the corporate world. However, that attitude is changing, and I think a lot in part because the average lawyer is changing. For example, I grew up with Apple II, and technology is not only a part of my daily life, it's a part of the way I think. And with 50,000 new lawyers entering the workforce every day, or every year, I'm sorry, the need for, every day I know, the world's in trouble. You know, the need for increased and efficient technology in the legal industry is growing every year. One of the biggest problems in the legal industry is the legal research and writing process, which comprises about 70% of the average lawyer's time. And you know, think about, for those of you who aren't a lawyer and aren't familiar with that process, think about your composition class in college where you had to do all the research, cite all the stuff, and multiply that by 1,000. It's a huge pain. And one researcher has estimated that about 50% of that time that goes into legal research and writing is spent on stuff that a computer could and should be doing. And that means about 700 hours or 35%. One of the biggest reasons why there's no solution in place for this right now, or no effective solution, is because the two entrenched players, Westlaw and Lexis, they have little to no competition. And as a result, they have little to no incentive to innovate. And so there's been a big lack of the adoption of effective technology in the legal field. And you know, I think that this industry is really ripe for disruption. There's a big need for efficiency and automation here, and ReCite can provide a hugely effective tool that will cut down on 50% of the time spent on legal research and writing by providing for automation, collaboration, document management, and platform neutrality. Oops, I missed a slide. The amount of lawyers and paralegals and law students number 1.4 million, which is the legal industry in the US. That number is expected to increase by 15% or 350,000 new positions by 2018 at an annual pricing structure of $100 for law students, $250 for recent graduates, and $500 for professionals. ReCite's total addressable market is $550 million. ReCite will be able to provide a universal solution by making use of Google Fiber's network through increasing productivity in 4 major ways: through automation, document management, platform neutrality, and collaboration. You know, really the first 2 elements, automation and document management, that's really just what the legal industry needs to move forward into the 21st century and catch up with the rest of the world. However, what's really more groundbreaking about ReCite is the platform neutrality and collaborative elements. For platform neutrality, ReCite will be able to deliver a product to the entire spectrum of the legal community. The products that are currently out there that manage the front end of legal research and writing are offered by Westlaw and Lexis, and they're very restrictive. For example, Westlaw's product, Case Notebook, it limits use only to subscriber members, and that firm averages $1 million per year per firm for across the board. And for larger firms, that number averages at about $4.3 million. It also limits users' access to material that they purchased in the last 30 days. And it only limits use to PC users, so Mac users like me are totally cut out of the picture. ReCite will be able to support any platform, any database, any website, any document or PDF file. It'll let PC and Mac users use it, and it also lets you work away from home or work via secure cloud connection. And what I think is most groundbreaking about ReCite is the collaborative element. By using Google Fiber's network, ReCite can, in effect, level the playing field between the little guys and the big firms and act as a support network for the small and solo lawyers. You know, big firms tend to have a water cooler type environment that, you know, if I'm in the business department and I have a tax question or a litigation question, I can go down the hall and easily get the answer. Small and solo firm lawyers don't have this luxury. And small and solo firm lawyers are kind of the entrepreneurs of the legal field, and they're increasing with the economic situation right now. Historically, they're about 60 to 70%, and numbers right now are putting that at about 80%. So there's a big need to increase the infrastructure that supports the small and solo lawyers. And ReCite will be able to create a virtual hallway, if you will, that will support small and solo lawyers being able to effectively have an exchange of ideas and collaborative thought through the Google Fiber network, but it connects lawyers from one end of the country to the other. What Facebook and Twitter have done for social relationships, ReCite will be able to do for the legal community. And the way it's delivered is first is a plugin for PDFs and browsers, and with the click of a button, you can easily import the material that you want to the application. And in the application, users can sort and store all the information, annotate it. There will be templates available for you to have easier work product creation. And you'll also be able to share that information with colleagues and access it from any mobile device or computer via secure cloud connection. And finally, it's delivered as a plugin for Microsoft Word, which lets users easily view all their source material and also lets them automatically insert and automatically update all their citations. And that reduces user error for things like plagiarism and formatting and stuff like that. And as I mentioned, there are a couple tools on the market that do some of this stuff. Westlaw and Lexis have a couple tools that automate. You can keep track of some of your documents. But there's no tool on the market that not only does automation and document management, but that's platform neutral and that's accessible to the entire legal spectrum. And that's also collaborative, allows for robust collaboration, and it's widely accessible through an affordable cost point. ReCite will be delivered to the market in sales and marketing through a two-pronged strategy. For sales, in the beta prong, it will be through direct sales and online sales through webcast and customer testimonials and things of that nature. For sustainability, it'll really be focused on building client retention, and that is really important to capture the law student market. And it will also be focused on building strategic partnerships with companies like Fastcase, who already have an established market base through partnerships formed with many state bar associations to provide free online research services, and also by partnering directly with state and local bar associations. For marketing, the sustainability model will be pretty much the same for retention through law students and strategic partnership. But in the beta stage, it'll really be about acquiring exposure through key bloggers and reviewers, through key conference attendance at conferences like Legal Tech, Legal Informatics, and the annual ABA conference, and through targeted marketing and website presence. And by by forming strategic partnerships and acquiring development both on-site and offshore, we'll be able to keep our costs low and generate positive income in year 2 and over $4 million in year 3 at a very conservative estimate. And a little bit about me, I'm the founder and CEO of ReCite, and I think I'm the right person with the right solution at the right time because of my unique familiarity with the market and the industry, and also because I have a very acute understanding of the problem. In addition, I have about 10 years experience in business and management and startups, and I've got a great board of advisors who have a huge amount of experience with startups and technology. Carla Pavone is a PhD in entrepreneurism. She's a former professor at the Block School of Business, and she's currently the founder and CEO of ISLE's Growth Initiative. Paul Callister is an attorney. He's a professor at the UMKC School of Law and is also the director of the law library, where he's in charge of purchasing for stuff like this on the university level. Brad Pemberton is an attorney. He's a shareholder at Polsinelli Shugart locally, and he's in the business department, has a ton of experience with startups. And last but not least, Davion Ross is a local entrepreneur. He is currently the executive vice president of Digital Broadcasting Company, who acquired his company, Athletics Nation, in October 2011. And he obviously has a ton of experience in technology and startups and marketing. So I think that to conclude, with the right team and at the right time, I think ReCite can really provide the right solution for an industry that's ripe for disruption. And by utilizing Google Fiber's technology, ReCite will be able to deliver an innovative product, a simple product that will solve a big problem in the industry. So thanks for letting me tell you about ReCite, and I'd love to answer any questions you guys have.
We got a question here.
Yes, sir.
You're going up against two very, very powerful competitors who have a reputation for, building things that they when they like what they see, they build that thing. So I wonder what your force field is, your defense.
Well, I actually think that that's where ReCite is really well positioned, because we're not trying to be the next database. Where Google and Bloomberg have stepped into that market, and they're filling a huge gap where you're getting at kind of a low value for your money of services, and they're providing a more cost-effective and easy to access tool. What ReCite is more of the front end of research. So while Westlaw and Lexis have tools that do some of the stuff that ReCite will be able to do, it's not directly competing. It's more of an add-on for that service. It allows you to, if you're a Westlaw user, you can still use Westlaw, but you can also use Google, and you can also use all of the documents on your computer in your PDF file. So we're not directly competing, but I think that by offering a platform-neutral program, I do think that ReCite will be positioned well for an early exit if we go that route. Does that answer your question?
Another question? Here.
I missed the part on the offshore access. Were you suggesting using professionals offshore, such as some folks use lawyers in India?
That's definitely a possibility. What I was referring to was more development offshore, keeping the development costs down by utilizing offshore development. But I think that targeting the offshore marketing that lawyers and law firms use to outsource resources is definitely part of the market.
And if I understood the collaboration piece, and I'm with a larger firm that does have the luxury of walking down the hall to the water cooler to get tax advice.
Right.
And so I can appreciate the stress relief that you might be able to offer if, by going online, individuals who don't have that luxury can access that type of expertise without having to hit the books and figure it out on their own. But if you were actually going to be communicating with other lawyers, have you thought about how to deal with attorney-client privilege, the ethical issues of conflicts, things of that nature?
I think that a lot of that will be worked out in beta, but I think that initially having anonymous usernames is definitely one way to work with that. But I mean, that's something that attorneys deal with every day. I think as far as uploading your documents or having that accessible, I think that that can be solved through having the lawyer or the user be able to elect what documents they make available or things of that nature. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Another question down here.
Saw some of the screenshots up there of the product, so my question is around the status of the product and what are some of your milestones for your product?
Right now we're at implementation stage. I'm actively looking for development money to move forward with that. We have a wireframe up, but when that development money is acquired, I can implement beta 2 or beta 1 within 3 months, and product launch within 3 to 6 months. So, and then at that point, it'll really be about acquiring the market share and hitting the revenue milestones.
Another question?
Just to follow up on the technology question, I know a lot of what you showed up there was based on a plugin architecture, right, for some proprietary technology, such as client software, and also browsers that in a lot of form factors aren't going to support a plugin architecture when you look at tablets and other things. Do you think that's going to be a challenge for some of the form factors that you want to drive, and do you have any strategies to address that?
That's probably a question that I would need to run by some of my technology advisors, but I think that a lot of that can be worked out in beta, honestly. But I think that if it is an online thing, I think that copy and paste can always work too if it's something that can't be supported. But nowadays I think that that can definitely, we can work around that. But I mean, that's definitely a question that I don't personally have the expertise in.
Okay.
Another question? Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.